Honestly, I feel more confused. Like, I thought you could be. Honestly, I feel more confused. Like, I thought you could be physical in the W, and anytime you touch someone, it's a foul. So I'm not really sure whether to be physical, whether to, like, I don't know. So I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah, you're still figuring that out. Yeah.
So, watch that confusion. Watch that genuine bewilderment on Azzi Fudd's face. The rookie from UConn just played 2 preseason games in the WNBA, and she's already completely lost about what's a foul and what isn't. And somehow, this moment right here has turned into a full-scale attack on Caitlin Clark online. The blame game is in full effect, and it's getting nasty.
It was like there's a lot of fouls being called after hearing how physical it is. Now, this is a good sign. This is a good thing, because before, Azzi Fudd, you would have gotten pulled out of the air by your ponytail by Dejanay Carrington, and a foul wouldn't have been blown. You would have had a broken nose and blood was everywhere on the court like Cameron Brink, and a whistle would have never been blown. They would have just continued to play. You could have been targeted like Caitlin Clark, and no fouls would have been called unless you're Asia Wilson and someone breathes too hard next to you and a whistle automatically happens, okay?
Here's what Fudd is responding to. For years, WNBA players described the league as rugby on hardwood. Paige Bruckers literally said she had to learn how to foul because refs wouldn't call anything. Cameron Brink took an elbow that broke her nose, blood pooled on the court, and they kept playing. Caitlin Clark got yanked out of the air by her ponytail by Dejanay Carrington. No whistle. These weren't isolated incidents. This was the standard operating procedure. Now suddenly the whistles are tighter. Fouls are actually being called. And according to a very loud portion of WNBA fans online, this is all Caitlin Clark's fault. She's ruining the league. She's soft. She's getting preferential treatment. The woman who brought record ratings, sold out arenas, and got everyone paid is now the villain because refs decided to actually do their jobs.
Okay, it says here, it says go back to college then. That's stupid remark for someone that's played 2 preseason games. This is called UConn entitlement. If she was treated the way Caitlin Clark was, with holding, flagrants, and eye poke, she would shut her mouth. Rugby ball days are over. Owners are paying to see basketball, and that's the fact of the matter. It's too much money involved for people to be getting hurt because everybody just running around fouling. Now check this out. They are calling touch fouls because Caitlin Clark and her WNBA white alumni constantly talk about Caitlin is getting mauled, even though Caitlin very seldom drives to the hoop to draw contact.
Let's look at what's actually being said online, because this tells you everything about where we are as a league. One comment reads, "They are calling touch fouls because Caitlin Clark and her WNBA white alumni constantly talk about Caitlin getting mauled, even though Caitlin very seldom drives to the hoop to draw contact." Another one, "All that complaining last year for Clark, now they're overreacting, turning it into the NBA. They're about to ruin it." And this gem. "This is called UConn entitlement. She should shut her mouth. Rugby ball days are over." Notice the pattern here. Every single complaint about officiating improvement is being funneled directly at Clark. Not the league office, not the officials themselves, not the CBA negotiations where this was actually discussed. Caitlin Clark is taking the heat for a league-wide policy change that multiple players advocated for.
But beyond Caitlin Clark, do you guys remember Kelsey Plum being at the podium in tears because they were not calling anything? Do you remember Gabby Williams at the podium basically in tears as no landing zone fouls are being called and her ankle got messed up? Do you remember the Nafisa Collier situation with Alyssa Thomas in the playoffs? There's a number of things that happened and why the refs needed to be like under more of a microscope. You have to call fouls.
Because here's what these comments conveniently forget. Kelsey Plum stood at a podium during the playoffs, visibly emotional, talking about how physical the game had become and how refs were swallowing their whistles. That was before Clark even played a WNBA game. Gabby Williams had her ankle rolled on a no-call landing zone violation and spoke out about player safety. Nafisa Collier had that infamous playoff incident with Alyssa Thomas, where the physicality crossed a line, and she made it clear something needed to change. This wasn't just about Clark. This was about a league that had let things get so out of hand that injuries were piling up, stars were getting hurt, and the product on the floor was starting to look less like basketball and more like a contact sport with a ball involved.
We're getting paid millions now. We don't got time for everybody to be hurt because y'all out there playing rugby. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. So you got a bunch of people here in the comments blaming Caitlin Clark and all of this stuff. Here it says, why is Caitlin fans in the comments mad? It is because she goes to the line every time someone looks at her. Flopiana. I mean, Caitlin Clark is just getting absolutely railroaded and destroyed by these fans, by these people now. And she's being blamed for a tighter whistle in the WNBA when this is something the players were calling for as a whole.
And let's be very specific about what happened to Clark as a rookie, because the revisionist history is already starting. She was flagrantly fouled more than any other player in the league. Not close, by a significant margin. She took hits that would have drawn suspensions in any other professional basketball league on the planet. The Carter flagrant where she got body checked to the floor. The Carrington ponytail yank. The Reese hip check. The constant hand checking and grabbing that refs just ignored. She shot 13 free throws in one game late in the season, and people acted like it was a scandal. 13 free throws for a player who had the ball in her hands more than anyone else in the league and was getting mauled every time she touched it. But sure, she's the problem. She's the one who ruined the physical WNBA that fans supposedly loved. Except those same fans were complaining about injuries. They were complaining about dirty play. They were complaining when their favorite players got hurt. They just don't want to admit that fixing those problems means the game looks different now.
When all she does is uplift this league and help everybody eat. That's all she's done, is help everybody eat. But now she's being targeted online because the refs have been forced to grow, to change, and to be better. And now she's a target online once again. I think it's ridiculous. You guys act like y'all didn't see what Nafisa Collier said after she was hurt by Alyssa Thompson.
The reality is this. Owners are paying massive salaries now. The new CBA brought serious money into the league. Expansion teams are paying $200 million just for the right to exist. There is too much money on the line now for the league to operate like it did when it was struggling to survive. You cannot have your franchise player get hurt because someone decided to play football instead of basketball. You cannot have rookies coming in talking about how confused they are about what's allowed. You cannot sell this product to casual fans when every possession looks like a wrestling match. The league made a business decision. Clean up the officiating, protect the players, make the game more watchable for the millions of new fans who showed up this year. That's not Caitlin Clark's fault. That's the league evolving because it finally has the resources and attention to do so.
Number of players who absolutely tore the WNBA refs to shreds. You guys are acting like you didn't see all the damn injuries. You guys saw all the injuries last season. You guys saw Dejanay Carrington clobber Skylar Diggins. You guys saw Dejanay Carrington pull Sarah Ashley Barker out of the air by her ponytail. You saw all of this. Cameron Brink had a damn broken nose. It was 38 million pounds of blood on the court, and they did not stop the game. You saw all of this. So to go online.
But let's talk about why Clark is really the target here. Because this isn't actually about officiating. This is about resentment. There's a segment of WNBA fans who never wanted the league to change. They liked it being niche. They liked it being their thing. They liked the physical play because it felt different from the NBA. And then Clark showed up and brought 20 million casual fans with her. Suddenly the league is mainstream. Suddenly there's scrutiny on the officiating. Suddenly there's money and attention and expectations. And for some fans, that feels like an invasion. So every change that comes with growth gets blamed on her. The tighter whistles, Clark's fault. The increased media coverage, Clark's fault. The fact that people are actually watching and critiquing the product, all Clark's fault. Never mind that she's the reason half these players got raises. Never mind that she's the reason the league is finally being taken seriously. She's an easy target, so she gets the blame.
No, stop fouling, let's hoop. Stop fouling, let's hoop, man. She already got everybody paid. Let's play a fair game. Get in the comments. Let me know what you think. This Keep It Division. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel.
Here's what makes this particularly frustrating. Azzi Fudd's comments should have been celebrated. A rookie coming in and saying I'm confused about the officiating should have sparked a conversation about consistency and clarity. Instead, it became another excuse to attack Clark. Fudd played 2 preseason games and noticed the whistles were different from what she expected, based on what she'd heard about the WNBA. That's actually a good thing. That means the changes are noticeable. That means the league is serious about this shift. But instead of recognizing that as progress, fans immediately jumped to "this is ruining the league" and blame Caitlin Clark. Think about what this means going forward. The WNBA just had its most successful season in history. Record ratings, record attendance, record merchandise sales, record everything. And a huge part of that was because the product improved. The games were more watchable, the stars were protected. The officiating, while not perfect, was more consistent than it had been in years. But if the loudest voices in the fan base are going to attack every change that comes with growth, where does that leave the league? Do they backtrack and let things get physical again, to appease the real fans? Do they ignore player safety concerns because some people prefer rugby ball? Or do they keep moving forward and accept that growth means change, even when that change is uncomfortable for some? The league has already made its choice. The officiating changes aren't going anywhere. The CBA included discussions about player safety and officiating standards. The league office has made it clear they want a cleaner game. Teams are investing hundreds of millions of dollars in expansion, and they're not going to let their investments get hurt because refs won't blow a whistle. So the question isn't whether these changes will stick. They will. The question is whether fans are going to accept that the WNBA they fell in love with is evolving into something bigger, or whether they're going to keep fighting progress because it doesn't match their nostalgia for how things used to be. And here's the thing about Caitlin Clark in all of this. She never asked to be the face of these changes. She never demanded special treatment. She never went on some crusade about officiating. She just played basketball, took an absurd amount of abuse as a rookie, and kept showing up. The league decided to make changes because they saw what was happening and recognized it wasn't sustainable. But Clark is the one who gets blamed because she's the visible symbol of the league's growth. She's the player who brought the attention that forced the league to examine itself. She's the reason casual fans started watching and started asking why is that allowed when someone got body checked with no call. The irony is that the players who benefit most from these officiating changes are the ones whose fans are attacking Clark. Azzi Fudd is going to have a longer, healthier career because refs are actually calling fouls now. Paige Buchers won't have to learn how to foul to compete. Future rookies won't have to survive a hazing period where veterans are allowed to physically intimidate them without consequences. Every player in the league is safer because of these changes. Every player in the league has a better chance of staying healthy for a full season. Every player in the league benefits from a product that's more watchable and more marketable. But sure, let's blame Caitlin Clark for ruining everything. Look at the specific comments again. Go back to college then. This is UConn entitlement. She should shut her mouth. These aren't critiques of officiating policy. These are personal attacks on a rookie who made the mistake of noticing that the game is different from what she expected. And the attacks on Clark are even more vicious. Accusing her of flopping, accusing her of getting preferential treatment, accusing her of somehow manipulating the entire officiating system to benefit herself. As if a rookie has that kind of power. As if the league office is making policy decisions based on one player's complaints. The reality is so much simpler and so much less dramatic. The WNBA grew up this year. It went from a niche league struggling for survival to a mainstream product with real money and real expectations. And with that growth came necessary changes to how the game is officiated. That's not controversial, that's not scandalous, that's just business. But we can't have that conversation because a segment of the fan base is more interested in protecting their nostalgia than accepting reality. They want the WNBA to stay small and scrappy and physical because that's what made it special to them. They don't want the mainstream attention. They don't want the casual fans. They don't want the changes that come with success. And Caitlin Clark, whether she wants to be or not, is the symbol of all that change, so she gets the blame, she gets the hate, she gets accused of ruining a league that she literally saved from irrelevance. It's absurd, but it's where we are. So here's my question for everyone watching this. When Azzi Fudd stands at a podium confused about officiating, is that Caitlin Clark's fault? When Cameron Brink's nose gets broken and blood covers the court, should we just keep playing because that's WNBA basketball? When Kelsey Plum is in tears talking about how physical the playoffs got, should we ignore that because some fans prefer rugby? Or should we acknowledge that the league made necessary changes to protect its players and improve its product? And those changes have nothing to do with one rookie and everything to do with the WNBA finally having the resources and attention to operate like a professional league should? You can't have it both ways. You can't demand that the WNBA be taken seriously and then attack every change that comes with being taken seriously. You can't celebrate record salaries and record attention and then complain when the league implements standards that match those expectations. The WNBA is growing up. That means tighter officiating. That means more scrutiny. That means changes to how the game is played. And if you're going to blame Caitlin Clark for that, instead of recognizing that this is just what happens when a league becomes successful, then you're not really interested in the WNBA's growth. You're interested in keeping it exactly as it was. Consequences be damned. Drop a comment and let me know where you stand. Are these officiating changes good for the league, or are they ruining what made the WNBA special? And be honest, is Caitlin Clark really to blame here, or is she just an easy target for people who don't like change? Because from where I'm sitting, she got everyone paid, and the thanks she gets is being blamed for every uncomfortable truth the league has to face about its own evolution. Hit that subscribe button if you want more honest WNBA coverage. And share this with someone who needs to hear it, because this conversation isn't going away anytime soon.